Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. I have wanted to come to Windhoek for so long. Everyone always says that when they come and do a talk. So I've wanted to come to be at X, where X marks the city that you're in. Okay? You know, like those concert guys at rock concerts, and then sometimes they get the cities wrong, you know? But the truth is that I really have wanted to be here for a long time. And the good news is we've just started doing business in Namibia. We've got a partnership here, so I'm very, very excited. Yeah. And it's the beginning of great things. So I'm really honored to be speaking to you, and I don't know why they put me first. That's all the nerves, and especially after that dancing. I mean, I've been watching it in the live stream here, and that was brilliant. So hopefully we can take it up a notch now, talk about real business and real inspiration, because this is what this is all about. So I want to chat to you about a word that has been fundamental in my success, and hopefully it could be to you as well. It's one of the first words I ever learned in my vocabulary. Very little boy. It in and I credit it now for taking me to where I am. But before I tell you about this word, I just want to, if you indulge me, I want to tell you very briefly about who I am. Just 1 minute, and I promise not to talk about myself, where I'm at now, ever again. So I'm the CEO of a company called the Creative Council Group. I co-founded it, and I'm the co-CEO currently. And we are the largest advertising group in Africa. We started the business nearly 15 years ago, and we employ over 1,500 full-time staff and thousands of temps all over Africa. And the thing I'm most proud of is that I've created a lot of employment opportunities for many people. Apart from that, it's been an amazing journey because we've taken advertising and pioneered what is known as non-traditional advertising. So that's the first thing. And what makes it quite unique is that it's the first time in the history of advertising that a non-traditional advertising agency is considered to be the largest advertising agency. And it's a sign of where advertising and marketing is going, and non-traditional, digital, activation-based advertising is where all the fun is happening, and it's happening in our offices. So I'm a CEO and a founder. That's one. Two, I'm a dragon on the Dragon's Den series, and you're going to get the benefit of seeing the better dragons after me. But it was a wonderful experience. I got to be on TV, which was fun. And I got to see a whole lot of entrepreneurs pitching their wares, and that's exciting. And I got to play investor for a while, so I'm an investor as well. The process of doing the show allowed us to realize how important it is to inspire entrepreneurs and to mentor people and to grow them. And I think Africa has more entrepreneurs than any place in the world, which is so exciting. And I'll give you the stat of why I think that. Think about this. 40% of the Southern African economy is comprised of the informal economy. And most of the people who participate in this economy are generally self-employed. We call those entrepreneurs. So there's a huge entrepreneurial activity happening in this continent. But what entrepreneurs lack here is access to guidance, to mentorship, to understand how to build their businesses. And you know what? That's why we wrote the book. All the proceeds of this book all go to an entrepreneurial charity. So, yeah. And it's a book aimed at guiding and mentoring. So I'm also an author. And then totally non-business related, I love fashion. So year before last, I was GQ's best dressed. So I'm a fashionista. And then lastly, last year we did a deal with the third largest advertising group in the world called Publicis, a company called Publicis. and it was the biggest deal in advertising history on the continent. So now I'm no longer an entrepreneur, I'm just a hired gun. I'm just an employee. But I've come a long way. And so that's the end of me telling you a little bit about me. But there's a reason for it, because I'm 40 now. I'm young-ish. And I still have a long way to go. I'm still very ambitious. I want to do a lot of things. But what's come up often is people have, of late, asked me, so what do you think is the reason for your success? And it's caused me to ponder, to wonder, what is it? Why me? And it comes down to one word. And it's this word that I learned when I was a little boy. And it's the art of asking why. I love asking why. And you know what I love doing more than that? Is adding one extra word to that. That combination is very powerful. So I don't know if you remember, like when you were a kid and you'd ask your mom, can I have something? Can I get that little toy car? And mom would go, no. And you go, why? Because I just got you the other toy. Why? But most of us grew out of it. Okay? I never grew out of it. I do this still. I often, in the office and in my life, I often just go, why? And eventually, when you get to the end of that, you find great solutions. So what I want to do is, I want to tell you about some lessons that I learned using the word why, combining it with why not. 5 key things that I learned. I'm not going to talk about Creative Council, about the success that I've had over the 15 years, about advertising. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to tell you about the lessons that I learned that led me to the point of starting the business 15 years ago. Because in business and in life, often you learn lessons well before you realize that you've learned them. And you never take time to reflect. And just when you are at this point, you learned all these things to get you to this point to lead you to success. Which is why in entrepreneurship, over 90% of first-time entrepreneurs fail. But only 30% of second-time entrepreneurs fail. And here's the best part. If you fail twice and you start a third time, your probability of success, statistically research proven, your probability of success is greater than 90%. Less than a 10% failure rate on third-time entrepreneurs. Because you learn all these lessons along the way. So, I'm going to take you way back. Okay? In fact, I have to go actually even further. Yeah. So, when I was a kid growing up, I came from a place in Johannesburg. It's a suburb called Edenvale in the east. Okay? And for those of you who would never have heard of Edenvale, I'll let you in on a little secret. People who come from my suburb, Edenvale, are known as the scale from the veil. Okay? It's a humble place. Okay? And I came from a very loving family and humble beginnings. But in my mind, the world was big and I was there to live it. From a young age, I always felt that I never wanted to stay stuck in the little suburb of Edenvale. I wanted to explore and do big things and ask the question why. So I'll never forget, I had a life-changing moment when I went with my mom at the age of 12 to a movie. Went to this movie, and I remember the moment of walking out and going, oh my God, I have to be an actor. You see, in those days, we didn't have Facebook, YouTube, internet, Twitter, any of that. We weren't that exposed. So the only place where we saw the big wide world out there was through movies. And when I saw Tom Cruise in Top Gun, I thought, man, I got to get in on this action. I got to be an actor because I need to get into the sequel of this. Because that's the big wide world out there. And I started auditioning. And I went and I failed and I got rejected and I tried again. And I didn't care because I had a single-minded mission to live a bigger life. And so, at the age of 15, this is what happened.
Okay, picture this. Welcome today, ladies and gentlemen, to the world of the lifestyle. What am I saying? Richard Feynman. Just playing. Okay, what's the line? Okay. I'm too big for BMXs.
What are you hiding out about, man? I mean, I'm taller than you, and I'm not too big.
What about me? She's taller than both of you guys.
Okay. I'm just being precious, you know? What do you do when you no longer ride BMXs?
No game.
Yeah, and win mega prizes.
Okay. Not quite the sequel of Top Gun, okay? Okay. But it was a start. So that was a show called Zap Mag. It was a youth magazine program on TV1 in those days. And it opened up my world because I got to meet amazing people and we interviewed people at the top of their game. And it gave me an opportunity to ask questions all the time. And I was incredibly inquisitive and curious. I actually did a good job on the show and it opened up my world. And I thought, wow, I had arrived. I'm famous. People are asking me for autographs. This is what I wanted. And just as it was happening, I realized this is not at all what I signed up for. What is this? I have to read someone else's script. I have to take direction as to where to stand, what to say, where to go, what to do, what to wear. What is this? I don't want to be a puppet. I started becoming interested behind the scenes, the producing, the directing, because that's where you become the master of your destiny. That's how you become the director of your life. And I thought to myself, you know what? This is what I need to get into. I need to get in on this action because I want to be the director of my life. So, as soon as I left school, I went to one of the guys you saw there with the dreadlocks. His name is Vusi Twala. He's actually changed his name to Vusi Zain, but at the time his name was Vusi Twala. I got him out of varsity. I told him, listen, drop out, forget studying. I got a new gig for us. We're going to start a TV production company. And it was an exciting time. It was the new South Africa, new regime. People were working together, black and white, and this was so cool. And we were going to become directors of our lives. So we got together and started a TV production company called Juwazi. Why? I'm Jewish. He's Swati. The Swazi and the Jew, Juwazi. True story. And that was actually done by Zapiro, the cartoonist. We got him to do that. And so, actually, not really a company. It was more a logo. A really good logo with a very cool name. But hey, that wasn't going to get us down. So with this cool logo and very cool name, we went to the commissioning editor of the SABC, brazen as we were, and we went, this is the person who decides on which programs go on air. We said, listen, got the best idea for you. We are Juwazi. And we are going to produce a mini gladiators, like a gladiator show for kids. We're going to call it Super Kids with a Z in the end. It's going to be really cool, and you've got to give us an opportunity to make the show happen. And her name was Brenda. I remember her sitting there, and she's like, do you have a registered company? We're like, no. She's like, do you have an office? No. Staff, employees? No. But we've got a really cool name and a great logo. And I remember her going like this and thinking, and I was expecting her to go, get out immediately, and I'm calling security to meet you at the entrance. She's like, I'm going to tell you something. I don't know why I'm going to do this, but I'm going to give you a chance. You're going to get a chance. I remember standing there. We couldn't say anything. We're like, thank you. And as we were walking out, I'll never forget a famous 4 words that she said. as we were walking out. Thank you, Brenda. So I reflected on it and I realized another life lesson. That very often in life, people will believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And here's the catch, they're often right. We are the ones who put the barriers in front of us. I cannot tell you how many times in my life I have had to go into meetings and get more than I bargained for, more than I'd hoped for, because people believe in you more than you believe in yourself, and they are often right. Well, the truth is we knew nothing about production. I remember walking into meetings and being befuddled. People were asking me about cameras and angles and lighting and budgets and scripts. But this was the outcome.
The most fearsome game of them all.
Jump high and reach for the stars.
Slam dunk as many balls as you can into the hoopla.
In the time span of 1 minute.
And remember, if it ain't in,
You're out.
Well, this is the slam dunk of all games. This is the drop of all falls. It's scary, but I tell you, hey, it's worth it.
Eraser, do you know what you have to do with this?
Yeah!
Then go when the buzzer tells you to.
yes, it's time for action again. The first ball is in. Eraser's rising to the challenge. 40 seconds gone, and it's time to partay. Come on, Psycho, what do you have to say to this? We're going to see some action today. I'm just holding on.
I think you get the drift. So, that was shot in the biggest studio in the Southern Hemisphere, multi-camera setup, live audience. We shipped schools from previously disadvantaged backgrounds in as contestants and as studio members. We got sponsors. There were competitions. It was a hugely successful show. We got another season. And the truth is, when we started, we knew nothing. Okay? I remember walking, just before I walked into a meeting, I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm this little kid. What do they want from me? And going, you know what? I got to just act as if. I got to act as if, and so it shall become. Okay? Because you're never going to walk into a meeting always knowing your stuff. And ever since then, that lesson has bode me well. Because to this day, I still walk into meetings going, I have no idea what I'm doing. But you know what? Having spoken to a lot of successful entrepreneurs, the advantage of being my age now, I know that they're probably thinking the same thing about themselves. Okay? And eventually, if you act as if long enough, it actually becomes that. Another life lesson. So that was exciting, and that was cool. But the world around me was changing. Remember, it's a big world. You got to think big. And in the late 90s, there was this thing that was happening, and it was capturing the world. And everyone was talking about it. I was reading articles about internet millionaires, people, companies that never made profits, being worth hundreds of millions. I said to myself, listen, I've got to get in on this action. I love this TV thing. It's fun and whatnot. But internet is all the rage. So I hooked up with a friend of mine from high school, okay? And we decided we were going to be IT millionaires, entrepreneurs. We're going to need to start a business. And he was a very, very experienced stockbroker. He'd been doing it for 6 months. So he dumped that, and we decided we're going to start a financial portal. We're going to raise some money, and that's exactly what we went and did. We came up with an idea for a business that it's an internet portal where people can go online and get daytime information, real-time share prices, analysis reports on currencies and everything. We raised a few million rand, which in those days was a lot of money. In today's times, it's worth Zatmalat. But in those days, a lot of money, and we started developing it. And we, in our minds, we were made. This is it. We're going to launch it. We're going to be millionaires. Everything's going to be great. People are going to laud us. And then the problem with the internet boom is, you know what happens after a boom? The bust. And 3 years later, the company that had invested in us went into liquidation. We lost everything. lost credibility, time, reputation, money, energy. And I cannot explain to you, I was 25 and in my mind, it was the end of my life. The end of my career. This is it. Who's ever going to trust me? What am I even going to do? This is it. It's over. And I remember speaking to my business partner, Run, and we were chatting, and I said to him, maybe we should even consider going back, finding a job for the first time. Maybe it's time. We got ourselves a boss. And that was quickly thrown by the wayside. We said, we don't know what we want to do, but we know we want to be entrepreneurs. So we got to pick ourselves up and start again. We were thinking of something to do. And Rand's girlfriend was a first-year law student. She was making a lot of money running promotions on the side as a side business. So we thought, let's start a small promotions agency, just enough to make us enough money to pay for the petrol, to get us to the office, to allow us to work out what we really want to do with our lives. And that is how it all began. At the time, I could barely get out of bed. I was so depressed. But what I didn't realize is the most important lesson of all, is that very often in life, breakdowns are actually breakthroughs. Now, how many people here can reflect on their lives and tell me how many times they've had breakdowns not realizing that actually it was a breakthrough? And since then, I have had many breakdowns, breakthroughs along the way in my 14-plus year journey. And that's when we started the Creative Council, thinking it would be the small thing, but growing it to the largest advertising group on the continent. And it was all because of these lessons along the way that led me to that. The first one was to dream big. You got to set the tone high. They talk about big, hairy, audacious goals. It's not cheeky to think big. It's a necessity. You got to be the director of your life. You got to take charge. You got to be master of your destiny if you want to be an entrepreneur. People talk about taking accountability. It's way more than that. My ex-girlfriend's father used to call me a doctor on call. Because whenever we were somewhere, if it's a family dinner or an anniversary, it doesn't matter, my phone's always on, and I was always available. That is the price you pay of being the director of your life. Ex-girlfriend. In life, people will believe in you way more often than you believe in yourself, and they are often right. It's because people see things in other people. Let it be. Foster it. Empower it. Embrace it. If you're doing amazing things that are out of the norm, if you're breaking boundaries, if you're thinking and working out the box, you will always feel like you don't know what you are doing. That's good and it's healthy. If you are comfortable, it doesn't mean enough. You're not doing enough. And that is why people will see that in you. So you have to act. And eventually, what you act is what it becomes. Act as if and so it shall become. And the most important lesson I learned was that in life, there are always going to be breakdowns. But from a perspective point of view, the breakdown can be seen as a breakthrough. So here's the deal. Those lessons were garnered because I asked the question, why? And I added the word not. Why not? Why not me? Why not here? Why not now? And I encourage you, in the next break, wherever you are, bathroom, looking in the mirror, or in your mind, ask yourself that question. Why not me? Why not now? Why not here? And if you do not have a good answer for that, there's only one other thing to consider. And that is, what are you going to do about it? Thank you.